On behalf of the Natural Stone Institute and Stone World Magazine, thank you for joining us for today's session, Selling Natural Stone, Building Your Company's Sales Structure. We have a great program planned during the next 2 days. In addition to this session, we will be holding a virtual trade show immediately following today's discussion. This is your chance to speak with experts, take tours, and see product demonstrations live. To join the virtual trade show, click on the link in your chat box or go to www.naturalstoneinstitute.org/virtual trade show to attend. Without further ado, I would like to introduce GK Nakhan. GK has over 35 years experience in the natural stone industry. He and his partners own Stone Interiors North America, a large fabrication company with 4 locations in the Southeast. GK's accomplishments include the 2004 Pinnacle Award for Special Use of Stone, 2005 Stone World Magazine Fabricator of the Year, and he has served as the 2011 Natural Stone Institute Board President. Recently, he received the Migliore Lifetime Achievement Award. GK often provides independent consultation services to fabrication facilities and travels the country to provide educational seminars at various industry-related events such as Stone Expo, Covering, KBIZ, and the Stone Industry Education Program. Please welcome GK Nakhan.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, everybody, for joining in to our session today. What I'd like to correct with Aaron is that I'm a lot older than 35 years in the business, but other than that, the rest was okay. The one thing about being in our business is, the longer you're in it and you stay in it, the more you learn. After now 47 years in the business, we still learn every day through these types of seminars. So thank you for joining us. And I'd like to introduce our other panelists, and they will say a few things about themselves. Blake Christensen, would you go first?
Sure. Blake Christensen, owner of Valley View Granite, located in northern Utah. I started in Southern California cutting stone in high school. In 2003, we started Valley View Granite. We have 1 fabrication facility, but 7 locations that we sell, measure, and install from throughout Utah and Idaho. Excited to be here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Blake. Alicia, would you like to introduce yourself, please? Alicia, unmute.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
I'm Alicia Mooney. I'm with Cutstone Company. We're in Central Alabama. We're a fabricator, and my husband started the business about 2005 and do all types of stone. So I've actually came from a background as a CPA, and now I help run the office and just sort of help bring some organization to our business. So glad to be here today.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for both being panelists today. Would like to do, Aaron, if you want to go to the learning objectives, today we're going to take and look at basically 3 sections of our selling processes and marketing processes. The first one, we'll try to define the residential and retail sales. The second session today, we'll be working with retailers and builders. And the third will be how to upsell and enhance sales. These are 3 critical areas in our business that either will produce new sales for you or at least help give you some training in those areas as we go forward, okay? So if we want to start first, we'd like to, Eric, if you want to go to the sponsor, I'd like to invite you to listen to our host sponsor, MSI. Or MS International, and we're going to have a short little video of MS. Thank you.
MSI is North America's largest independent source of countertop, flooring, wall tile, and hardscaping surfaces. For over 40 years, MSI has sourced the globe for the highest quality hard surfaces on trend designs and has grown to over $1.5 billion in annual revenues. Our product lines include the broadest selection of quartz and natural stone countertops, luxury vinyl tile, porcelain and natural stone tile, decorative mosaics, pebbles, stacked stone, and pavers. With over 2,000 employees and over 30 showroom and distribution centers in the United States and Canada, we actively service every channel, including fabricators, retailers, builders, contractors, kitchen and bath dealers, mass merchants, architects, designers, and hospitality. Our distribution infrastructure includes importing over 50,000 containers per year and a company-owned delivery fleet of over 200 trucks. MSI can deliver anywhere in the continental United States within 48 hours. Our information technology systems report real-time inventory, so our trade partners know exactly what's in stock and how quickly they can receive it. Our business is agile and designed for growth. We adapt to the needs of our customers, from our latest venture, a domestic manufacturing plant for quartz countertops, to being on the leading edge of augmented reality to improve the consumer shopping experience. We've become the preferred supplier because we are creative, innovative and curious, savvy, professional and smart, flexible, open-minded and adaptable, cooperative, collaborative and responsive. This mindset allows us to deliver the greatest assortment, affordable products, accessible inventory, and attentive service. At the center of global operations is our 26-acre headquarters in Orange, California. The facility is a testament to our core commitments. In addition to stocking tens of millions of square feet of inventory, we employ over 200 corporate employees in key functional areas, including sourcing, logistics, operations, marketing, accounting, and information technology. Our operations team employs the latest technology and equipment to provide best-in-class distribution to our customers. Our sample board processing department produces custom solutions for thousands of our customer showrooms each year. Experts across our organization are committed to providing our customers an elevated experience. From customer service to trend and design, MSI provides inspiration. Customer service professionals in our showroom guide you through the industry's top trending residential and commercial surfaces. Our slab yards capture the beauty of quartz, granite, marble, and other countertop surfaces. Online and in our showrooms, we use product stories and technology to show our customers what's possible. The more immersive, the better. MSI's marketing, merchandising, and design teams are committed to providing an elevated and curated shopping experience. A full array of tools are available for our customers: website, room scene photography, displays, brochures, training modules, and trend and design collateral. We are future-focused, identifying and investing in categories that will transform the marketplace. MSI, making dream surfaces attainable.
Thank you, Aaron. We're back. One of the things that we want to accomplish today is get your opinions on a couple of polls. So Aaron is posting a poll right now, which basically, what documents do you use to set expectations with customers? If you wouldn't mind taking, we're going to leave that open for about a minute or two for you to just click a box there. It'll give us a little bit of an understanding of what the expectations are for our seminar today. We'll have a poll on each section before the session, which will help Alicia and Blake help us guide us through this webinar. The first section, of course, is going to be on residential customers, and Alicia is going to basically help us with how she handles and how we go. Of course, Blake, you can throw them in anytime we want. But we're looking at what type of list and sales packages and so forth that we would use to generate the sales, and how do we handle a retail customer as compared to other customers. And it looks like we do currently use sale documents is about 37, customer packets 37. We've got a lot of, about a third of everybody uses everything, I guess is what it boils down. I'm not quite sure how we get 37 on 4 different things, or 33, because there's only 100%. But other than that, we all do good. So, I think that added up to a little more than 100%. But I'm sure we all take polls. We'll check as many as we can. All right. What we'd like to kind of start off with, Alicia, is when we look at the residential customer on the web sheet there. For some reason, it's not giving me that option. But we look at custom materials and fabrications. How do you first step into a retail customer?
When they come to us, we try to fill them out first, try to see, do they have something in particular in mind? A lot of people have been on Houzz, they've been on Pinterest, or they've been to their friends' homes, and they may have an idea of kind of what they're looking for. And so what we're trying to do is ask questions to get a feel for, what do they have something in mind? Do we have something that would in our yard that would fit the bill for them? Or is that something that we need to be looking at, a supplier kind of outside of what we keep in stock? So those are kind of initial, how we're touching base with that customer and kind of just getting a feel for really what they're looking for. After that, it's kind of just assessing. We walk them through the yard, so that's first and foremost. After we kind of get a feel for what they have in mind, a lot of that is just very visual for people. So they may have something in mind, or they may not, but it helps clarify when we walk through and look at actual slabs with them.
Yeah. Is that something that you kind of coach your salespeople to do? Do you have a particular format that they go through, a training that you try to put that sales staff through to try and engage that customer as they come into the showroom?
Yes and no. So some of that, yes, we do have some kind of procedures in place where let's do this first. Let's ask these kinds of questions. Here is the information we're going to need to gather from them. And just, first and foremost, kind of establishing rapport with that customer. And then some of that is going to be, we leave a lot of room for flexibility in, each individual's personality, because everybody's going to have a different approach, and how they relate to customers. So we do try to leave some room for, each individual to approach things in their own manner that they're comfortable with.
Okay. And I guess what I look at when we work with our sales staff is, of course, education. How much education do we give? Number one, the sales staff should have all of our products in their education. But number two, the customer, because I find sometimes our most experienced salespeople like me overtalk the customer in telling them way too much information that they really don't care about. But on the same time, there's that lack of when you tell them, oh, there may be dust in your house when we come to install, that we forget to say too. So sometimes there's too much information and little. How do y'all handle that with your training of your staff and information to the customer?
We do try to train them just to go over the basics with people. And part of that is just establishing what they already know. Have they been through this process before? Is this something new to them? Some people come in and this is brand new to them. They've never had stone before. And then other people, this might be, this is my 10th house I'm building and I've contracted it myself. So, we've got to fill that out first, get a sense of what their experience has been. We do try to go over those things verbally with the customer when they are in our showroom, or over the phone as a second choice. But just going over the basics of here's what happens when we template. Here's kind of a rough timeline of when that takes place. Here's what happens during install, or if we're doing a tear out, this is what to expect during that. And on top of that, because people inevitably forget, or they're half listening, or, there's just a lot of information to process. We do note those things on quotes that we send. And then also we've got an expectations document that we send out to customers that walks them through all of those details that we might have mentioned during their showroom visit, but they probably forgot. So.
Yeah, that's one of the big things is after the initial contact is given that expectation document, because you may have said 20 different things in the showroom that they only picked up on one and forgot all the rest, So we find that with a retail customer, it's real important to get all of the information up front that you can without overwhelming them at the same time. The other thing that I've noticed with retail customers for the last, it's been quite a while. We've been doing countertops for me, almost 35, 40 years of it. But what happens is that we no longer are dealing with the uneducated retail customer for the most part. They have either seen the materials, whether it be, the marble, granite, quartzite. They've probably either seen those materials in their neighbors' homes. They may have even, most of them have already used granite or some product in a home they've had before, or they've been in a hotel. So they typically have conceptions or misconceptions, and sometimes about the product. How do you handle explaining the differences in how the materials will perform, such as marble over granite over quartzite?
Well, that starts, of course, with the sales staff, like you mentioned earlier. So educating them first. We do try to use the resources available to us from the Natural Stone Institute, as well as just stuff we've developed on our own. We walk through and, we'll do occasional tests of materials and just kind of see, look, this one's going to etch, this one's going to scratch easier, that sort of thing. And then that's the kind of information that, our sales staff remembers, and that they're then able to convey to retail customers. So a lot of that, in my opinion, it kind of stems from asking leading questions of those customers. I will say a lot of them come in, saying, well, I know I want quartz, for instance. So, they may have a type of material in mind because that's what they've seen in their friend's house or, online or something like that. So, and most of them, you're right, it is not an uneducated customer. Some of the information that they have might be 100% accurate. Some of it might be, half accurate, but we do try to, like I said, ask those leading questions and get them to talk about what they do know. And if you can get that conversation going, a lot of times, they're conveying what they do know or asking our opinion. What do you think? What is the difference between, granite and marble? What can I expect? And I've heard I shouldn't do this in my kitchen, things like that. So it's just kind of talking them through that and offering expertise throughout that conversation.
I still today, I get customers that tell me, oh, I can't use marble in my kitchen. And I'll ask, well, why? And they say, well, another fabricator said that you can't do that. Well, we as fabricators know that if you do a home sealed with a great sealer, the kitchens in marble today are extremely popular. And but yet still today we have a lot of misconception about putting marble in the kitchen. The other thing that's good about putting marble in, the way I love to sell it, is that you live with your marble. You feel your marble. It's as I grew older, I don't look like I did when I was 25. I can promise you. So my marble grows with me. My granite stays like it is, but my marble grows with me, and that's a great selling technique for marble too. The other question that I was looking at that's kind of dear to me is setting, when we set those expectations to the customer. One of the things that I really like to do is engage the customer, not just and sometimes that's difficult with sales staff that is trying to move on. How do you handle the time elements, or how do your people handle the time elements from actually getting engaged with the customer to where they feel that they're home, or maybe even with a cup of coffee, as compared to just trying to get the volume through the sales staff, you know?
We really try to drive it home. Well, we're in Alabama, so I guess most people expect that you're friendly, right? We're friendly in the South, so we do try to keep that from the very moment people walk through the door. I want our staff smiling, greeting them, and engaging them, you know, the second they walk through the door. Sometimes that's, hey, would you like a drink? It's, you know, it's a hot August day. Would you like a Gatorade or a water or something like that? So we're trying to keep them, you know, that we care about them. I guess that's the message that we're trying to convey is this is a friendly place. You know, we're here to help you. We want to help you accomplish your goals, and you know, you can rely on our expertise to do so.
Right. One of the questions I always come up with, even with our own staff, is you know, management goals or management philosophy. You know, and I've seen a lot of issues over the years, and even mine is how do we want to treat not only our employees but our customers as far as ethical and just in genuine. So I find that most companies that have a good company policy from the owners that they want to achieve a good quality and a good relationship with their customers tend to have that transfer down all the way through their staff. And, you know, I find in our companies, thank goodness, that our staff really cares about the customers as we go through. But at the same time, we all have questions that, and I don't know if you have it, but in our companies, we always hear, well, the salesman told me. And we all know the salesman didn't tell us. How do you kind of handle that when a customer comes back and says, well, the salesman told me you were bringing in my refrigerator and my dishwasher and installing it and those types of things? Kind of give me an idea how you would handle that in your company.
That can be tough because salespeople are known for for sometimes mentioning those things, right? Well, going back to the expectations document, I mean, that really is going to be your lifesaver in some of those situations because, you know, let's all be honest, we've had those situations arise in the past. I know we have, and you know, perhaps before we were in the routine of sending those documents and having that in writing for people to refer to. You know, I've had the call before where they said, well, I didn't know there was going to be any sort of dust or, you know, something like that. So that document that they can refer to, that you can point back to and say, remember when we talked about this, that's going to be your saving grace in those kinds of situations. So you want to address things like, you know, what the environment is going to be like. What do they need to do to prepare the services that we do perform and we don't perform? I mean, whether you are going to be disconnecting their appliances or not, you know, those sorts of things you do want to set the proper expectations for customers because, you know, you don't want them to have a bad taste in their mouth because, you know, you get the phone call saying, well, I was told this or I wasn't told that. You know, that puts us in an awkward situation that we would prefer not to be in.
Right. One of the other things that I was questioning in our environment is training the salesperson to know the materials and so forth. Actually, I find our salespeople who know our company goals and know the products that we sell are much more comfortable selling our customers. You know, it's just a natural for them. Not that they necessarily are natural salespeople, but they feel so comfortable with your products. So the training, I guess, is a real big aspect of how a successful sale will go down. Okay, Blake, you had mentioned about the buyer's guide that y'all have produced for when a customer comes in, they are then given a buyer's guide. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd echo what Alicia said. I mean, anytime you don't have it written down, it's a recipe for an unmet expectation. And so we've basically made a lot of mistakes over the years, and I think everything that enters those documents or those buyer's guides are probably a direct result from an unmet expectation. So we basically created I think it's a 10-step guide that is everything we want both our salespeople and our clients to know going into a job. Everything to get it from basically zero knowledge to what we would call a perfect, PO or a perfect order ready to execute. And that becomes, again, the textbook for our training, as well as the expectation bar for our clients. Another thing that we found very helpful is when we train a new salesperson, we spend a week and we put them into, we send them up for a day with the templater, a day with the installers, a day in production. We ask them to silicone a sink, to silicone a backsplash, polish a cutting board, and get them somewhat versed in our culture so that they can experience those things as they convey it to the client. And we found that is extremely useful when we're training our salespeople. So both documentation of what it is the expectations are, as well as a real life practical way to put those into place.
Great, thanks, Blake. One of the key factors as we kind of wrap up this particular session, understand that the Natural Stone Institute has a lot of training for salespeople at the website. So if anybody's looking for guides to how to set up this training for your employee or how to handle a retail customer, just go to www.usernaturalstone.com, and that'll give you a good basis for starting if you don't have it at this time. So Alicia, thank you, and we'll get you in the next session too, and Blake will get in the next session. Right now, it's time to kind of go to our next sponsor's video. Aaron, if you want to start keying up that for us. And again, everybody remember, we will also have a question and answer session at the end of the presentations here. So please jot your questions down, put them in the chat box or whatever, and we can actually answer some of the questions directly on this seminar. Aaron? welcome back, everybody. I'd like to really thank FlexJet and Grand Quartz for their sponsorship. Remember, please get in touch with these people if you have their needs. It's important, and that without their sponsorship, we wouldn't be able to have these educational venues. The next question that we're going to go is to our poll, and Aaron's going to put that up. And if y'all would go ahead and start filling out on that one. How do you currently track your retail leads? We're going to be talking mainly about retailers and partners that are stakeholders in our business that give us work. That's for those people who are either in cabinet shops or in carpet companies or designers in a large degree. And also we'll be talking about the types of builders that we work with in this section. For those of mainly this section comes in for the most part with a purchase order that is given to us or a customer that's already been established as a customer or a lead that we get to establish that customer. So if y'all wouldn't mind filling out the little survey that we have, as soon as we get that back, we'll start into a discussion about how each of us handle those types of lead generations. Okay. About 24% of us use lead generation software. We do use advertising and website. Purchase orders is probably the big box type stuff. And then we do not currently track leads. That's 48%. That's real interesting because that's a large part of our in our business. That's a large part of our business is having other people give us leads. Aaron, we can go back to the slide. The one thing I'd like to start off with saying this, and Blake, thanks for being in this one with us too. But the one thing I like to talk about is how do we sell? Okay. If I'm selling just retail in my company, that means I have to have a salesman for each customer that goes down the line. And a salesman, even if you could get a good salesman that handled 50 customers a day, if you had 50 retailers out there that has 5 or 6 salesmen in their part that recommend you and sell for you, you have just exponentially expanded your sales force, and there's a cost reduction for that. Now, in big box, for example, if you have several stores in a big box environment, you now have these several stores selling for you. It costs you something in how you participate with them, whether it be a commission or a stipend or whatever, but it expands your sales force to give you more volume coming in. And the real catch to that is making sure your price structure matches that cost for capturing those leads, whether it be on your internet, whether it be on a lead generating source or those types of funds. The purpose of having retailers or builders is to exponentially increase your sales capabilities. So, Blake, why don't you kind of start off with a couple of things that you guys do with retailers?
Yeah, thank you, GK. And I think you hit it on the head. I mean, nothing happens by accident. Everything has to be properly engineered and you're going to sell differently to a big box, to a builder, to a retail walk-in, and each one of those processes has to be strategically engineered and figured out, because it's a different expectation for a Sally homeowner or a remodeler versus a builder that builds 300 homes a year. We do set up a lot of, we try to set up a lot of like carpet suppliers, interior designers, any kitchen and bath dealers, and you have the same problem with those dealers that you do with your own, it's compounded because it's harder to, you either engineer it to where they are establishing the expectations or they're just sending clients to you and you establish the expectations and train the customer. We've actually found greater success in the latter, where they are sending clients to us, and we are, then we're reciprocating with the spiff, and we are establishing those expectations. And not always the case. There's a few exceptions to that, but most of the time, it's very difficult to take a carpet salesperson or a cabinet salesperson and train them on how to properly, sell and define those expectations for countertops. With that in mind, though, we've had great success in our builder programs, where it's just a selection process of a predetermined or a pre-canned palette of colors, and those colors are typically more uniform. That is a very easy expectation to define, versus somebody that's getting a Taj Mahal or a marble in their kitchen, that wants to approve a layout, that wants to, and subsequently, how you handle that customer is priced. The pricing structure is different, and the processes are different, But in the end result is going to be the same. You now have a perfect PO, you have a perfect order ready for templating and production and install to execute. But again, it leans back, as in the first section, to having all those expectations in writing, having the literature, having the guides in writing, so that when there's that convolutions of, well, we didn't talk about it, well, but you were responsible for this buyer's guide, and we've sent this to you. And you are responsible for everything in this. This is the platform that we can have that conversation over. Did that hit the question there, GK?
Yeah, it does. One of the things that I'd like to kind of go back into a little bit is what types of sales are. Well, you mentioned very clearly that you have more work on just a lead generation, but it's your work. It's people in your company, you're creating it, and you can upsell, okay, to that lead, as compared to a customer that tries to sell it all themselves and give you a PO and doesn't give enough instructions, as we talked about in the earlier conversation with retail sales. They don't really clarify all of the points that we know should be clarified in there. One of the things, and we can bring big boxes in here in general. I don't want to talk about any individual one, but we can bring big boxes in here in general, because they are a great lead generator and they are a great sales, but we have to handle those two differently. Can you expand a little bit on that, maybe?
Sure, and you'll find that we've had greater success again with our internal people making those upsells, making those educations, and treating the big boxes as lead generation. Hey, let us come in and we'll properly sell this, but you don't want to turn that away. You don't want to turn those outlets away, because by far you're going to have more traffic, more base through those dealers, through those big boxes, through they have way more foot traffic than we ever could generate. But again, it's what we've done with our big boxes is try to simplify and really standardize checklists, standardize steps, standardize so that it's a single card that says, here's the 10-step guide to A to B. Here's how to here's what we need from you and why, and try to establish that, hey, we will perform on our end, but we need your decisions and you to perform on this end. And through the process, like was mentioned before, you want to make it about enhancing that kitchen, enhancing places people gather, enhancing. This isn't a countertop; it's an experience, and it's something that you want it to go smoothly and well. And the simpler and more straightforward you can be in your literature, in your approach, the better off everyone's going to be in the end result.
Yeah. One of the things we looked at too, when we go over to the builder side, there are different types of builders. You have your production builders that pretty much have a standard bill of goods that they produce, and we've priced them at a real economical price. We don't normally have to deal with the customer at all. And then you have your large builders, but they're not production builders, that build custom homes, and they may send you the customer to deal with. I know in our company, we have what we call a low and a high builder. Even if I got that builder who's not a production builder, but he does 10 to 20 houses a year, then he gets a little bit lower price maybe than the builder who sends me 2 or 3 houses a year, and I have to deal more with the client. How do you handle that particular one? Do you have price structures or?
Exactly. We do the same thing. We look at how does this builder process their orders? You know, are they coming to us already with decisions made, or are we having to walk a client through those decisions? And we've had great success on the larger builders that, you know, that do make all their decisions in a showroom or design center. We've had great success with educating those designers on how to upsell and how to, you know, sell different, and if the builder will allow it, making it worth their time from a spiff perspective. But yes, it's absolutely, we treat a builder that processes orders all in their house and sends the order to us completely differently and priced completely differently than one that just sends a client in and we're spending 2 or 3 hours doing a consultation. And then you have a hybrid too, where sometimes you have a builder that 99% of their jobs they process, but they have that 1% that wants to come in and look at their stone. So they pay a premium for that, and it's all pre-negotiated, and it's very, very easy to add a $500, you know, stone selection fee or whatever that price is. But you know, again, the way we handle that is pre-engineered and set up to where, you know, builder A that's going to send their client in is working with an inside salesperson. Builder B is working just with an outside salesperson, and those projects go straight to our project management department or our scheduling department, and they monitor and keep them on track from that perspective. But much different involvement, much different expectations need to be established with those two different types of scenarios.
Right. Yeah, we look at builders a lot differently in our company. But one of the things that we always notice is even in our builder market, and that's kind of like why we take high and low and different things besides just volume. Some builders, as you mentioned, there's always an issue. You know, there's that builder doesn't really pay attention as well as other builders do, because some builders are real clean and smooth. And we have that little special builder niche for that person, because you really got to do all of his work for him, you know, so we tend to stay in that. The other thing I'd like to get into is maybe some website leads. We're in the middle of redesigning our website right now. I've noticed yours, Blake, is a phenomenal website. It's very, very nice. We are looking to try and generate more action, like in our websites. And when I say action, to where a customer looks on the website and they can actually get online information immediately from our staff and so forth. Your website's real clean. Tell us a little bit how that is affecting incoming sales, and if it's generating leads. I know there are companies out there that help bring in leads through websites, and their websites leading to us. Do you have any experience with those?
So I think this kind of focuses on knowing your market. Are you in a large urban area where your clients have a lot of options for who to go to, and you're competing among those options, versus a rural area where there's only 1 or 2 fabricators or options? And I think you have to make that decision as a company, how much time, because you can spend a lot of money on SEO and on website generation to get those leads through Facebook social media campaigns or whatever that is. And you just have to make those decisions. Is it going to result in the type of business that you want? Personally, we have found that we wanted a solid website, mainly from an educational content perspective. We haven't really put a lot of money into, we find that when we want to focus on our target, we can go directly to the builders, go directly to, the individuals that are pulling permits, and direct our salespeople there. So So it's kind of a mixed batch there, but the website becomes your bulwark for all the time. I mean, you have to have your standard colors on your website, your offerings on your website. Those guides have to be on your website. All the time, our salespeople are referring people to those websites, and then on the phone with them, hey, look on this page, and this is the color I was talking about, or this is the sink I'd recommend. So fundamentally, the content, that's the approach we've taken. The content has to be there, but we have not put a lot of money into trying to generate sales, through the website. But again, that's because in our market, in our area, we felt like we haven't really needed to spend a huge amount of money on that SEO optimization and such. So that's kind of been our approach.
One of the other big things that we're noticing, especially since COVID has come about, is that we're starting to get a lot of, we use Zoom, and there's many platforms like we're on today. We're doing a lot of virtual selling today that we didn't do just 5 months ago. As our country is in this pandemic, we're noticing, there's much more shift to this media that we're doing today, other than, me being in Birmingham today doing a class, okay? But what we're looking at is that our sales force is now trained to be able to start walking around with their Zoom and showing the slabs, and we actually are having a lot of comfortability with that, including in the big boxes in the retail sections. In all of our sections, we're having a lot of success with that. We even have them to where we've had sales to where all it was a virtual sale, just like this, and it comes out the end. Have y'all, Alicia, have you had any experience in that yet?
Yeah, we did start doing that, when COVID really just opened everyone's eyes, I think, to that being a reality, is people do their shopping online these days. And I'll admit, at first my reaction is kind of, well, that's really hard to do for countertops, but it does work. So, I think for those people that are seeking that option, we need to be able to give that to them as an option of how they shop. Most people, I think, do still prefer to actually come out and see it with their own eyes and touch and everything like that. But for those that, maybe can't or are unable to, or maybe it's long distance, something like that, at least initially we'll start maybe with pictures and say, here's a picture of kind of what you're interested in. We do offer them the option of, doing a kind of virtual slab yard tour if they want. So definitely have some options available to those customers.
Thanks. Blake, thank you, Lisa. Blake, the other aspect of that is I know you have a lot of remote locations and all. One of the things that we've been able to do is actually we load up our sales manual, everything, to where it's all can interact with the Zoom call that we make, so we can bring in our own inventory and show them pictures of our own. Do y'all have that capacity too? I know you use the same software we do.
Yes, we do. I mean, our photo databases for our slabs is very critical in that, because when you're dealing with natural products, each product is obviously unique, and that becomes a hard thing. I mean, I see a day though, GK, when the virtual reality becomes a huge tool in what we're doing, and the augmented reality, you look at, and people are able to put on a set of goggles and really design their house through that. The technology on the marketing and sales side is coming. I think it's going to be a real thing, but the caveat is going to be getting, this slab of Lapidus or this slab of Taj Mahal, whatever that is, incorporated into that. And so yes, we use a lot of technology to try to get, those individual pieces incorporated into layouts, incorporated into designs, sending customers layouts, doing go-to meetings with them or Zoom meetings, where they're doing a layout over that platform is very critical, and making sure it's current, refreshed, and updated. That's another side of least the natural stone slab component of it.
One of the things we're going to go ahead and break for a question. One of the things we want to look at too is, and we hadn't mentioned in this one, but it's a great one, is the visualizers on your internet too. We'll go ahead now and move on to our next sponsors. Aaron, if you want to go ahead and make that available, I want to thank everybody.
Hi, I'm Chuck Russo, CEO of Baca Systems. The Baca team is very excited to introduce the next generation sawjet solution for the market. The Robolution Pro is available from Baca Systems. It has total mitering capability with the jet and the blade. It's equipped with advanced software features to be able to cut the hardest materials in the market and compensating for warped material or thickness variation to get perfect miters. The Robolution has the largest cutting table in the market. It's 90 inches by 144 inches, allowing us to handle the largest slabs in the industry. The Robolution Pro also allows us to do all the mitering with the blade and the jet, doing inside corners and cutting a lot of the different materials today that are being introduced into the industry. Baca Systems has over 400 robo sawjets installed in North America. Baca Systems continues to invest in technology, people, and facilities to meet our customer needs. We're driven to provide legendary customer service and support, and today Baca Systems offers a family of machines, from cutting systems, from 5-axis CNC saws to robot-based cutting systems, to edging, polishing systems, filtration, dedicated mitering machines. Baca Systems has a family of machines to meet fabricators' needs all across North America. We would be very excited to have anyone visit Baca Systems to come in and learn more about the solutions we have that significantly increase customers' profitability and the safety of their operations. Come visit Baca Systems.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for for Laser Products and Baca for our sponsorship. That Laser Products video with that music, I was dancing on my end. I hope y'all were all dancing too. You know, it was a great music. We're going to go into poll number 3 now. And it's basically we're getting into some real interesting sides of how we sell now and what makes a sale go through for us in some cases. But the question is, what items do you currently charge an extra or an upsell? And we got brackets, sealers, sinks, faucets, maintenance packages, and we don't currently upsell. What I'd like is in the question box, if our participants would use the question box, let us know what items you may upsell or upcharge, because this will all go to everybody eventually. And we'd like to have other facets of it. I mean, we don't have like cabinets in there, and we'll talk a little more about that when the poll's over. But please fill out that and let's see what are some of the more popular items that we sell. And if you have an item that we sell that you sell more popular than these 4 that are up there, or 5 that are up there right now, please go into the question box and give us some of your ideas on those. Okay, we're back, and it says that 60% of us sell brackets. Thank goodness, God. I remember 20 years ago, we wouldn't sell a bracket because we said, well, that's somebody else's problem. Sealers, 37%, sinks and faucets, 83%, and maintenance packages, nobody sells those. Okay, we'll talk with Blake about that. One of the things that's real important, everybody pretty much is selling sinks and faucets now, and of course, there's many places we buy them through. One of the things I want to talk about in upsell is how your staff upsells. First off, you got to make sure your staff feels comfortable with the products you have to upsell. Even in our own companies, some of our salespeople aren't familiar or don't engage in all of our upsell products. But if your sales staff feels comfortable selling, a sink, they're going to sell it all the time. Even though the customer may want to wear a different one, they're comfortable selling a 0 radius sink or something to that effect. So first off, I insist that our people get comfortable selling the upgrades. They're comfortable selling the natural stone products that we do. They need to be just as comfortable selling your upgrades. And then the second part of that is if you don't have the products on your sales list, if you're not offering sinks, don't expect to sell one. So think about what you want to upgrade, what products you want to upgrade, and make sure they're in your pricing schedule to where it's easy to upsell. Because if you got to go looking at a plumbing supply house to find a 0 radius sink, your salesmen are just not going to do that. It's too much trouble. Even though you may make $200 or $300 on that one sink, which in some cases, if you multiply your fabrication cost and everything else, you're not making that much on the whole kitchen countertop, So accessory type products like this can really boost your bottom line profit. Blake, why don't you kind of go into the things that you do, and then we'll get with Alicia on hers, okay?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, GK. I mean, this is an emotional sale for somebody, and you have to present it that way. This isn't just a countertop. This is the heart of your home. This is where you're going to spend the majority of the time with your family and with your kids. And as it's presented that way, as your sales staff is trained to present it that way, they're going to be more successful with it. We a long time ago, we sat down as a senior management and sales team. And we just brainstormed everything that we could think of that we can add value to a ticket, and anything that and treating it as a value add sale. This is a chip minimizer around the sink. This is a thinner backsplash that gives your splash a different look than your countertop. In the case of cutting a splash thinner, upgraded edges. We changed all of our edges. Flat polish is standard and everything else is an upgrade. And it's sold that way. The services we also added. We trained all of our guys to do faucet disconnect and faucet reconnect. And that's a big deal in a remodel environment. People will pay $300, $500, $300 to $500 to a plumber to have them come in and disconnect and reconnect. Why not capture that revenue ourselves? Those are some of the things The materials are, some of them are upgrades. The hardest thing we found with treating materials as upgrades is that if something does go south and you have to replace a very expensive material, it really is difficult to recoup that, or charge for that on the front end. So materials sometimes will, depending on who we're selling to, we'll treat those as upgrades. The other thing that we've done is, rather than selling a lifetime or a 15-year sealer, we try to sell a service where we come in once a year and steam clean and disinfect and fix any chips. And we treat silicone as a maintainable item. Silicone is something that it's not a one-time install and it's good for life. It's every year you want to come in and spruce that up or look at it and see if it needs to be replaced. So those are the service of coming in and doing those things is what we've really tried to push in some of our upsells. But again, just like you mentioned, GK, you have to have a back-end system that will accurately track and make it easy for your staff and for your designers to plug into and to incentivize them to and train them to sell these as value adds. Otherwise, it's a very difficult thing to really capitalize on.
Great. How about products that you upsell, Alicia?
I would echo a lot of what Blake said. A lot of that is service. Service is the key for upselling for us. So, like you mentioned, edges, we do the same thing where, your East edge is included, but everything else is an upgrade. Sinks as well. We've got certain sinks that we keep in stock that we use for builder programs. Those are always available, but there are other options available as well. So if you want a farm sink, if you want this, if you want that. The key to all of that, like Blake mentioned at the very end there, what he was saying is having a place to warehouse all those options so that you can show people, what is available to them. Because, you think about your own experience when you're shopping for other items. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what options might be available. So if I knew, if I had only known that I could do a chip minimizer on the edge, maybe I wouldn't be in this situation, where my kid threw a glass on the edge of the sink and chipped it out. So, customers don't know those things oftentimes unless we expose them to it and show them what all of their options are. So that is the key, is just finding a place that, it can be manual, it can be a booklet, maybe it could be, software where all of these things are easily accessible to your staff as well as customers.
One of the things we've been doing, and Blake, you and I use the same softwares, and we put packages together for different types of clients. Okay, and the retail packets that we have, or the packets that we talk to clients, we have a section that has to be checked off in there that says you need to go over these with your client. Brackets is something we sell a ton of now. We used to not sell a lot of brackets, but we follow the Natural Stone Institute's recommendations for overhangs, okay? And it's on a 3-centimeter stone, it's 10 inches. So we rarely have a 10-inch overhang for a bar, It's usually 12, 14, 16. Some people want to go 24, then they got to put blades out there to hold. But the brackets we're selling now with almost every job, and brackets are not just the cost of the bracket. We can all buy brackets from anywhere from, $10 to $50, depending on what kind of bracket you got. But it also includes the installation of that bracket. So we charge near about $200 per bracket that we put in. Well, that's a huge bottom line profit center for any company who installs brackets. And I can remember years ago, we used to have this argument in our company of whether or not we wanted to install brackets because we might mess up a cabinet, or the no-sayers always say, no, we don't want to do it. And the salespeople say, but I can sell it. Just tell me a price, So there are so many things that we can do. Just this week, I got a phone call saying, hey, we installed our first dishwasher, and it's like, okay, we did a dishwasher. We're doing plumbing, we install sinks, we do that, but now we're doing. So all of these things, and we got $75 to install it. You know, it was like, okay, big deal, you know, but it's exciting because it's something we weren't doing before that's bringing in general revenue that costs us virtually nothing. So what you're looking at is these accessories that we sell, the profit margins on them are much greater than the profit margins we can charge on stone. And I don't want to get off the stone topic because the stone is a much larger sale than a $200 bracket. But, you know, percentage-wise of profits going down to our bottom line, those things make a big difference. So if you're selling cabinets or if you're selling dishwashers or you're selling disposals, faucets, sprayers, towel bars, whatever the accessory that you can sell, those are the type of things you can mark up real well. What we have found is that our installers now install tile backsplashes at the same time we install our countertops. So it takes a little bit longer, but not always that much longer to install a small tile backsplash. Now, we're not getting elaborate, you know, but for most of our jobs, we are encouraging the homeowner, oh, you're getting tile, and instead of running away from it, we're saying, yes, we can do the tile. Look at the packages we have. And for the most part, homeowners are taking advantage of those packages. That can add anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 to a ticket, you know, and that's huge. And when we talk about why do we want our salespeople, you know, to handle our referrals and builders in lieu of the sales associates and our retailers handle them, it's because we can upsell those products to them better than the other person can. If we're dealing with a carpet company, they're not interested in how to sell backsplash. We just told them how to sell granite. You know, let's let our people handle that so that we can say, oh, what backsplash? Because you know, as soon as we install that countertop and there's a 1/8 of an inch gap between the wall, they're going to say, oh, my tile's not going to cover that. Now, I know y'all haven't had that in your company, but somewhere along the line, I've heard that every day. So, because you're not scribing to the wall perfectly. Well, we all know that answer. But if we're handling the tile backsplash or we're handling better, easier transition for the customer, they don't have to worry about it. We can cover up anything that may be a little bit of an issue that the plumber may say, oh no, I can't install this sink because you put your hole too close to the metal bowl, you know, or a stainless steel bowl. You know, how many times we hear that every day? So those sales are not only sales that are upselling, but they also help us in having a smoother job as we go through. What are some of the other products you may have, Blake?
Well, really quick, one thing that we found success in is we do a lot of dishwasher brackets, and we were having problems with, you know, them being forgotten. So they would sell a dishwasher bracket and the installers would forget to leave one. They've got 100 of them sitting on their truck. They just forget to leave one. Now you've got a frustrated client. So what we said is, look, let's make a dishwasher bracket a standard item on every job. And you create a scenario in your sales side that says, you know, it's a should ask question. Your customer, hey, you want a dishwasher bracket, even if they don't use it, we want to charge you. We're going to include a dishwasher bracket standard. And we just, every job we sell has a $20 dishwasher bracket that we pay, I think, $2 for. It really helped us. I was really surprised at the amount of profit we had just from making that one little change and standardizing it from our installers. The callbacks on forgetting one were completely eliminated. It was just we leave an exit packet, we leave a dishwasher bracket, and that became the standard process. The other thing that we did was mechanical fastening of sinks. We made it a point for our salespeople to mention that, hey, is the competitor mechanically fastening their sinks? And this is what that looks like, and this is why you want that. And we just added that to the pricing of our sinks across the board, and now it's a big deal. Now it's a value add. Even though we've been doing it for years and years, it's why are we not getting a little bit more and putting the focus on some of those little cliche things that you want the focus to be put on. Another thing that we've had success with, like I mentioned, is we'll hire college students and have them and train them on how to do the sealing, the annual steam cleaning and sealing as a service. And that's been especially with COVID, we're disinfecting your counters, we're cleaning your surfaces. We've had great success with that. But those are some of the biggest things that we found success with in our upgrades.
Yeah. One of the last, and we'll need to move on in a second, but one of the things that we found, and I mentioned earlier, is the sealers. When it's kind of funny that a lot of companies just throw sealers in. We all seal the granite, but we kind of assume that's in the cost of production. We actually charge on every job $100 for a 5-year sealer, and it's listed on our invoice as sealer. It's listed in our price list, even though the customer may not see it because they see only the one total quote. But that was a real tough thing for us to change the mentality of our own salespeople, because when they didn't want to include the sealer, they didn't want to do something, but we charge that. Now, if a customer is real concerned about sealing, we will sell a product that you require large, like $300 for certain sealers, one or more expensive than others. But we seal everything that goes out the facility, but we also include in our pricing structure a minimum of $100 for that sealer that we were just giving away prior to doing our estimates. By being able to do your estimates and you have to select the sealer, it makes our sales force sell the sealer, and it's now natural, because that happened maybe 5 or 6 years ago. We said, we sealing everything and you charging the minimum of a sealer for everything, So as you look at that, our accessories was almost 10% of our total sales last year. And that's huge when you think about you're averaging probably 70% profit on accessories. So that's a huge number to have added to your bottom line. Really helps the cash flow too. I'll just say it that way. Okay, we're coming to the end of this session, and I would like to have any questions. We're going to go ahead and have our last sponsor. Aaron, I'm sure you're ready for that. Okay, we're back, and I want to thank Brenton and Water Treatment for their sponsorship. And right now we're kind of open for questions and final thoughts. I don't know if Mark had any questions he wanted to entertain in that he may have gotten. Mark, are you there?
Yeah, we've got a few questions that's come in during the presentation today. Some of them go a little bit earlier in the discussion. Let's go with the first one. Pollyanna asked, back when you were talking about, I don't know which one of you it was talking about a 10-step order process guide that you have in-house. Is that something that you could share with the attendees or something we could offer them later? Or do you want to talk about it briefly?
Yeah, Blake, I think that was you, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be more than happy to share anything we have. It may be on our website. We've kind of created a few custom ones, meaning if it's a big box sale, the process is a little bit modified just because of whatever you have to, you know, there's an extra step here and we just rearrange it. But generally, you know, our buyer's guide is organized into, I think, 10 steps, and then we have a bullet point 10-step guide, you know, just start to stop in a little postcard that we can use, because people always ask the question, either how far out are you or when can I be installed? And it's very easy to answer it with, I don't know, where are you at in the process? Here's our 10-step guide. You know, if you have your decisions ready right now and can get me to step 4, then I can get you to step 5 within, you know, 4 days. But it's a very easy way to get everything, you know, answered and organized, and give your staff a platform to visualize so that you're not creating unmet expectations and frustrated clients.
Yeah, I saw your website. You got those 10 steps on there. It's excellent. Good job, you know.
Yeah, and again, it's just what we've come up with, and you need to come up with what works for you and how your process is.
Yeah. We always look at processes and procedures, you know. The process pretty much in all of our situations are the same. We're all granite or fabricators, but the procedures that we use to implement those processes make a big difference, you know. Anything else, Mark?
Yeah, while we're talking to Blake about his website, Brian mentions you've got a beautiful website there at Valley View, but are you concerned about providing too much information on the website that a customer can use to learn and educate themselves, but then go somewhere else to buy it cheaper?
Sure. You know, that's fine. I mean, the whole purpose of a sales process is to have your client walk out saying, why would I do business with anyone else? What questions should I ask the other guy? Are you mechanically fastening your sinks? Are you, you know, I mean, you're always going to lose business. And same thing with upgrades. You have to be willing to let the business walk, I think, you know, if they're not willing to pay a little bit of a premium to have that added value. But yeah, I think I mean, information is free. I think anything you can do to elevate the client base, and we found that a lot of our clients are on their second project, and their first one they didn't do with us, you know, and there's a reason they're coming back to us for project number 2.
The other thing that we found in that too, Mark, is that the better educated a customer is, the more likely they're going to come to you. We're not racing to the bottom. A lot of the websites today are racing to the bottom. You go on a website and it says, you know, builder pricing, factory direct, all of these things that you're just racing. You're trying to get volume at a cheap price. We really don't want to do that as we go forward in our industry. We're in a noble industry. We're accredited fabricators. Blake, I mean, these, you know, we want to be able to provide the best service, not only the best countertops, but the best service and information. I have found that in selling, when a customer feels more confident that we know what we're doing and giving the right information, the customer sticks. And Blake said it as good as anybody. You know, when a customer feels comfortable with you, they're going to stay with you. And if it means that they're going to go ask another person, well, why aren't you accredited by the Natural Stone Institute? And we've had that come back to us as a benefit of a sale, because they felt, hey, you're an accredited company, and I've read what it means on your website, So I'm going to stay here because I know I've got that little bit more of security that I don't have with the guy down the street or another company. So we find the more information you put out there, the better off you are, instead of trying to say, well, I'm the cheapest, I'm the best. Well, who isn't the best? Tell me one fabricator that says, oh, no, I'm really not real good. You probably don't want to come with me, because we got the worst installers in the world. There's never been a fabricator that wasn't the best fabricator, okay? So how do you differentiate yourself? These are the ways that we recommend you do it,
Hey, Eric has a question that's probably more pertinent during our COVID environment that we're in now. He has issues with virtual sales and customer difficulties with true color representations. Like, it looked different during that Zoom call or that FaceTime call. Have any of you experienced that or have recommendations to help out?
We have had virtually no problems with it. We do have to understand, and we tell our customers, when you're on a Zoom call, you're really looking at design more than you are colors, or pattern of the stone more than you are colors. It's going to give you a color, but color is based on the monitor that the person's using. So, when I have two monitors, dual monitors like I have right now, one of them has a better resolution than the other one. So you're going to get a color variations, and that has to be, in my viewpoint, the several that I've done, I've had to explain that up front. And if they want us to send us a sample, then we could send them a sample of the actual colorations in it. But look at the pattern. Look at, is this the type of pattern that you want? And then we'll also send them, once they have picked the material, we'll send them a cut guide of it, a virtual cut guide and layout to their kitchen if they need it, How about Ada, you had that situation?
I think that's always going to be a challenge, just for the reasons that you mentioned. It might be monitor, it might be sometimes if people are absolutely unable to see the stone in person, which we always do try to encourage, maybe it's as simple as holding up a white sheet of paper next to the stone, just to kind of give them, here's a comparison of what that looks like compared to this. Or sometimes we'll group the stones, maybe it's just samples, group them together and show them all sort of compared to each other. And then that helps customers kind of get a feel for, oh, this pattern looks very different from this other one, or that color looks more blue compared to, that white sheet of paper or something like that. So sometimes it's helpful to have a comparison to show people.
Okay, Mark?
Yeah, so a couple of you asked for other items that people share that they charge extra for. One of them that came up was tear out labor, plumbing services, I think Blake mentioned. Other companies sell, I guess, partnership items, you might call them, like cabinets, just other items that may go with countertops for a complete remodel. Any of y'all do that? Or I think you mentioned a couple others.
Yeah, tear out's a big one, Blake. Do y'all do the tear outs?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you have a different price for mica compared to ceramic compared to granite?
Yes, we do. We price ours based on square footage, but there are those are the three categories. It's tile, laminate, or slab product. Cement is in its own, if it's a cement tear out, it's one that we try not to tackle, or even though we do and we have, but those are kind of a custom. Let's look at the situation.
Right. Y'all do tear outs, Alicia?
We do, yeah, same kind of service. We price it by the foot depending on the material that we're tearing out. I'm curious, though, Blake and GK, do you guys also find yourselves tearing out backsplashes in addition to the countertops?
Yep.
If we're doing the backsplash, we definitely tear out the backsplash on it too. The other thing that's interesting too is when we do just a remodel and your it's coming out, you do have to cover where the old backsplash is. So a lot of times we're adding either a 6-inch backsplash or whatever. And then typically if you get into a 6-inch backsplash, you got to watch out for the outlet. So that's an outlet cutout. It's amazing how much more you can add on just to reasonably explain to a customer, you need to cover, because it was 4 inches. Now I need to go higher. And by going higher, I hit an outlet. So let's go to this. And you can actually get more dollars in the job for that too.
Or a mirror. A lot of times we've gone into projects saying, look, just plan on replacing your mirror if it's tight, you know, and we'll do the best we can, but you know, that might be a good, and again, you've got to focus on your core, you know, product offerings. You don't want to deviate and start getting into glass and mirrors, but you're selling an experience. You're you know, and you want to make it as easy for that client to connect the dots as they can.
Right. Handling glass has been a difficult situation for us because some of the mirrors that we have to, that we would try to take off could be a real danger for our staff because they're not familiar with fooling with taking a mirror off the wall that's been glued, and it can really hurt somebody. That's one we take a little bit more caution to do, you know. Anything else, Mark?
Yeah, I got a few more specific questions. I'm going to lump them all together here, and you guys can do a roundtable if you want. Jorge wants to know how you calculate a fair commission rate for retailers or salespeople. Pollyanna wants to know specifics on bracket suppliers and pricing for the add-on sales. And then Howie was asking about Blake's disinfecting services. How do you charge for that? And then I just had another one come in. What do you charge for square footage for tear out, or what rates? I guess more specific question. You guys can share if you want to, or if you have some numbers on how you calculate those.
Well, let me just go. I'll go first, just to be quick with it, and then I'd like to hear everybody else's. First off, tear out. Typically, you know, we see what the market is, but typically by square footage, we look at somewhere around $5 for laminate and $8 to $10 for granite or tile. You know, the second thing is the calculation of commission for outside vendors. You know, for retailers that send us in. It varies tremendously. If the person takes more control of it, they get more percentage. If it's just a turnover, it can be a $50 more lead fee. If we sell the job, you get $50, or it could be a percentage there too, depending on how it is. You know, we find that the lead fee works better than a percentage because then they're waiting for things. The lead fee, as soon as it turns into a job, we just pay it, you know, so it turns over quickly for them. And then you know, you got to look at the type of job too. If they send you a $10,000 job, or they send you a $50 job, and you do a $50 lead fee, it's not really worth that. So you got to watch that. And then I guess that's the only ones that I had. I had pricing down here. I didn't know what the second was. How about you, Blake? You want to go first on that one too?
Yeah, we're about the same for the tear out square footage. Calculating commissions is hard because you want to make it a win-win situation. You want, you know, we actually found that when we went to commission-based inside sales, we lost a lot of our salespeople, and as a result of that, we doubled our sales with fewer salespeople in the next month. You know, just because the ones that stayed, you know, were incentivized to stay, and the new ones that we attracted were amazing. You know, it's very difficult with a younger generation, you know, to get them bought into the self, you know, responsibility of being responsible for their own commissions and having a greater reward as a result. And then commissions with dealers is also, I mean, you could spend 3 hours just on that one too. But it's got to be win-win. It's got to be something that is achievable, that's beneficial for your employees, beneficial for the dealers, and beneficial for you as a company. Is that about it? Was there any others?
Yeah, they were asking specifically on that disinfecting service, how, since you mentioned that.
So we kind of create a good, better, best scenario where they can pay for just a steam cleaning to come in. It's square footage. You can pay to have it steam cleaned. You can pay to have it steam cleaned and resealed. You can pay steam clean, reseal, chip repair, and silicone repair. And then we commission our guys doing that. We piece rate them out. Basically, the guy performing the work gets X amount of square foot, and we bill the client X amount of square foot. And then we have our stone care if it's an actual, where a seam has broken or an island has broken, then it's a case by case assessment of how many hours it's going to take, and then a specialist comes in and really does the heavy lifting there, where they're restructuring islands or seams or surface polishing, whatever the material is, and that's how we've treated our stone care.
Alicia, how much do y'all charge for the tear outs?
Yeah, I think we're about in the same range. We're usually in the $6 up to, 8 to 10 for stone or tile, something like that. So very similar to yours. And then as far as commission structures, Blake, I think you're right. You could spend a whole lot of time trying to figure that one out. In my experience, everybody's, that's going to depend on what they're expecting. And like GK said, the different types of jobs that people might bring your way. That's going to definitely affect what sort of, commission or spiff you would pay somebody. It's got to be something that, you don't want to make it so complex that you can't keep up with it. Of course, it's got to be, to me, it's the more simple you can make it and the easier you can track it, the happier everyone will be. So.
The last question that I didn't catch was, how do we price the add-ons? And I'll just we can kind of sum up that. One of the things that we have done is for like sinks or any of those things, we find out what the market price is that our customers may be able to buy it from other sources. And we rarely discount from that because they're buying it from another source. I don't want to ruin the faucet industry by offering, a faucet that we might buy for $50 for $60 when it sells on the market and at one of the big retailers for $160. So we try to keep our pricing on our accessories at or right at the same price that the customer would buy it, and buying it from us being a convenience, having our company and all of our accessories be a convenience because you're one-stop shopping, but use the retail or the price structures that they would normally buy it from a person who sells plumbing, or sells cabinets or sells, not trying to downgrade the market. Many years ago, when we were using retailers, they would downgrade to granite. They would give the customer the price we gave them. So that's how granite kind of went to the bottom of the market for a long time. Now we try never to do that. Our retailers that we use have to sell granite at our prices so that we can make sure we're not diving into a market and try to go to the bottom with things, Okay, I think that's our time's up, or maybe we're about 7 minutes overtime. Thank those of you who have stayed on the call with us. We'd like to turn it back over to Aaron now, and thank y'all for participating in our webinar here.
Thank you, GK. I want to thank GK, Blake, and Alicia. Please give them a virtual round of applause. They did a great job today and answered a lot of great questions. A few points that we wanted to bring up. It was brought up, the residential install module. We actually have that in the handout section, so please go to there, download that. It's also on the Natural Stone Institute website, so you can go there and download it. It's in the resource library, so please use that as kind of a basis both for training and also for some of the sales that you're working with. If you're not signed up for tomorrow's Virtual Stone Summit, we're going to talk a lot about commercial. We have some great speakers talk about continuing education, and then Brett Rugo is going to speak a lot about contracts in that market. And then right now, if you have a chance, we are having a virtual trade show with all of our sponsors, so please go there. visit with the sponsors, speak with them. They'll have a number of them will have rooms that you could go into, speak with them specifically about their products, or also look at their do a tour of their facilities. So please go there. Once again, it's www.naturalstoneinstitute.com/virtual trade show. You can also find links in the chat box. So thank you once again for coming to today's session, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.